We are highcasting again. Our lots are cast high. We are the Highcaster. Welcome to episode 4, which means some things might be going down today in our continuing campaign as we follow the Whitlanders, the best that the Whitlanders have to go on an epic quest to revive a lost goddess who plummeted to the earth hundreds of years ago. So when we last left our heroes, they were in a interesting spot, and we'll get to that in our recap. But before we do, should introduce ourselves. I'm Christopher Gray, the creator of Highcaster. For all of you that have backed and supported this game, sincerely from my heart, thank you. This was, I try to play this close to my vest, but this is a very important project to me for a lot of reasons. But one of them was that I had this idea back in the 90s. This was my first fantasy game. It was called A World Without Stars back then. And all of these many decades later, it's coming to your table so that you can play. And I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you very much. I'm very excited about this. And Kickstarter is wrapped, which means we are in production mode. And we are moving really quickly. So this will be in your hands very soon, within weeks. So look forward to that. And now let's introduce our cast. Who wants to go first?
Hi, everybody. I am Rob Abear. I go by he, him pronouns. I will be playing Grumble, the rocky round boy with the floppy hats and songs for every occasion. I'm an illustrator, game designer. You can find my work under the handle @NerdyPaperGames on Itch, on Instagram, on Twitter, everywhere wonderful art can be seen. We recently had an injury in the family. Our beloved dog, Milkshake, it just saddled us with some hefty medical bills, but he's going to be fine. But that means that my commissions are open. So please go to twitter.com/nerdypapergames and send me money.
Do it for Milkshake.
Do it for Milkshake.
Do it for
him.
For Milkshake, y'all.
And I will throw it to Danny.
Hi, I'm Danny. I am a writer, and I write for role-playing games. I do horror writing and novels and all sorts of stuff that I decide that I want to write. And I do a podcast too with Joanna, who's like right below me in the picture, and we talk about horror and goof around a lot and swear a lot on the podcast.
It's mostly me swearing, if we're going to be really honest about it. So,
and it is tell
Noted.
us what's in the box. What's in the box? Tell us what's in the box.
Tell us what's in the box.
And you can find me at Danielle DeLise on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else. So I will throw it to Kurt.
Oh, right. Hi, I'm Kurt. I use he, him pronouns. I am a game designer, graphic designer, all that stuff. I wrote Sigils in the Dark. And if you, like me, are currently in isolation thanks to COVID exposure, go grab your free copy because I always have isolation copies available for free of Sigils in the Dark. You can find me on Twitter @KurtPotts. Go do that. Check that stuff out. Find me there. And hashtag do it for Milkshake.
Hashtag do it for Milkshake.
And I'll throw it to Joanna.
all right, we need to get that hashtag going on Twitter and social media. But yeah, Chris is like, I'm Joanna Nelius. I'm also a fiction writer and poet. I co-host Tell Us What's in the Box with Danny. And our podcast art was done by Rob at Nerdy Paper Games. So if you're curious about what kind of commissions he can do for y'all, you could check out our podcast. And also, as Blake Ryan said in the chat, check out Kurt's lighthearted game. It is absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to promote everybody because I just write about tech and everything else. And let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like so not. It's been a long day. I'm So not
that's-
doing the intro.
That is fine. That is why we're going to chuck some dice and help you forget about that long day. I hope I will. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. I think the box, I think what's in the box might be hats. So
Grumble's
Good
hats.
check.
Yeah.
yeah.
Spooky
might-
hats.
Spooky hats. So cool. Well, here we are. Just to recap, although, I mean, if you haven't seen the first couple episodes, you should probably see them, but I'll do my best to recap, just like we're in the beginning of a comic book. About 500 years ago, the stars fell, and those were literal gods that fell to the earth and died. So presumably, they left behind these shards of volcanic glass, which over time have corrupted the land. And it so happens that our heroes, as they're trying to resurrect their favorite star, Oathstar, they came upon the corruption one of these shards have left behind. And it seems like this was a result of the head council of the Dariwish culture in their time. Well, it's called Bregden as the name of the city, but they often call it Sunderhold. She had gone to try to resurrect their favorite god and accidentally unleashed corruption on the land and destroyed many, many Hydoni lives. And as a result, the Hydoni have gone to war with the Dariwish and have caused lots of destruction and mayhem at the Dariwish capital of Sunderhold. So our heroes have come upon this situation and have unpacked it. And they have been warned not to go to this shard because who knows what else they'll unleash. But they also learned that by going to the shard, they can probably have access to the horizon, which is where they believe their god is, and perhaps all of the other gods. So is it worth it? Apparently it is. Like, they didn't even argue about it. They're definitely going to do this. So that's sort of where we left off, and we are going to pick up right there. Now, you do get a favor for joining me today. So mark that, but you have not had time to rest at this point. So if you have taken any harm, or if you have used some disciplines, you're still harmed and you're still disciplined. That came out weird. It's not that kind of game, folks.
We're not
But
playing
it can be.
vampire.
Can be acceptable.
So we last left at that stage where you had pretty much decided you're going to do this. But before you can prepare or plan, because that would be the natural next step, is that you have to prepare and plan, and then you go on your quest, right? Well, you don't really get a chance to do that during the feast, which was happening through the night. There was a large interruption because the trumpet sounded, the horn, and you heard that horn before when you were admitted into the city. So that horn has gone. Oh, we're trying to figure out their audio. Sorry, I got distracted. So the horn has gone off, and that means then that there are probably visitors coming. And when you wait just a moment, you can hear the gates opening as they let in a rider who has come in looking panicked and scared. Those of you that are out in the outer courtyard of the citadel will hear that this rider is reporting news of an advancing army. The Hydoni are coming, 10,000 strong, led by their greatest generals, and they're coming to finish this. So
At 10,000?
that's what you overhear.
Yeah, we need to get the fuck out of here. I am going. So are we? Can we see this army, or there's just like scouts that have come back? And
This is a scout that has come back. The army is advancing. Probably will arrive by morning. So if you get onto the ramparts, if you want to, they'll let you. You can see the torchlights of the army advancing. They're coming from the west, not through the swamps, but through the foothills and the grasslands to the west.
I feel like we should probably do something to stop him.
Well, you are the wisest person I know. What should we do?
Aw, well, thank you. I don't think of myself as that wise, but I will take that compliment. Well, I'm not going to try to light anything on fire again this time because that didn't go well last time. So, I don't know. I think maybe we should, I don't know, meet them along their trail and just talk to them.
I am large, but I do not think I could rout an army, not of such size.
I mean, we're going to have to like talk them down, Amir. We're not going to be able to, you know, fight them as strong as you are, and you are very, very strong. But we're just not going to be able to take them all out, as you would say. We just need to maybe talk to their leaders and see what we can do about, you know, maybe if they give us a little bit of time, we could go purify the blight that's happening in the swamps, and you know. Maybe make it so they don't have to go to war.
That is true. They will have to camp. Yes, they will not walk all night.
I'm hoping they don't.
Hard to say. I mean, you can ask around to see what to find out about this. Let's go ahead and pivot this into a prepare chapter, which means you'll have narrative control over the things that you want in order to do your mission or your quest. And I guess you also need to determine what your quest is. Are you going to go and figure out what's going on with this advancing army, or are you just going to say, good luck with that, we're going to the Shard? Because we're two different directions. Either you're going west toward the army, or you're going east towards the Shard.
Well, I think that if we head them off at the pass and explain the situation, we might be able to at least buy ourselves. At the very least, we might be able to buy ourselves some time to go address the blighted shardstone in the swamp. But maybe even if we get lucky, they'll have either their own experts, their own information, their own way to get through the swamp, something that we could use. So I think our quest should be to, if possible, find some common ground with the Hydoni, because they would want this blight to be cured just as much as the Derwish.
Isn't that scholar that we talked to? He is Hydoni, yes?
Yeah, Julius Lorato, famous Hydoni chronicler.
Wouldn't he be an inroad with this army?
Would he be sober enough to do anything about it?
You are a clever magister. I think maybe you could come up with some way to make him more lucid, no?
I can try.
I got an old Rumble family recipe that if you get me some sand and a little bit of pumice and some groundwater, then I can sober that guy up extremely quickly.
He is not made of rocks. Is your remedy for everyone, or?
I'm gonna have to give you a maybe on that one.
You are in a prepare chapter, so if you want to sober him up by whatever means you want to, you can. You have narrative control at this point.
All right, look, Enosi and I will take care of Julius. Renoy and Amir, maybe the two of you should go talk to the Derwish High Command and see if there's any information that they could help us with, or maybe if they sort of not lower their defenses, but don't look like they are actively preparing for war or like a long siege, then that might buy us a little bit of goodwill when we come out and meet the Hydoni out in the field.
That is a good idea. Perhaps there is some sort of "we wish to speak" flag.
Like a parlay.
Yes.
Like a protocol.
Parlay flag.
And there, it should be said that naturally everybody is mobilizing right now in the outer courtyard. So as you're discussing, there's anybody who's fit to fight is armoring up, and the ramparts are filling up, and the commoners are grabbing swords, and it's like that scene in Helm's Deep.
What was the name of the
good.
unicorn?
Esther.
Esther. Yeah, so like maybe if y'all could talk to Esther and get her to tell everybody to just, not decamp, but like maybe just staying down, like keep their swords sheathed. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like we may have burned a bridge with Esther.
Yeah, there. I should note that you go to Esther. We're going to pivot into a. I think there'll be a culture chapter. In other words, you're not going to have any life-threatening threats, but you're going to have to do some work. Julius is your friend, though, so you can use him in the prepare chapter.
Great. I think Anosi and I are going to work together we're going to use her magical know-how and my literal salt of the earth home remedies to cure Julius's there's two different remedies. One is if he's still drunk. One of them is if he's hungover. Those are two very different recipes from the Rumble clan.
I think he started sobering up already because he was having to help you earlier. So maybe this is the hungover remedy. And he's sitting kind of in the corner going, ah. And so some sand and groundwater and magic later. What magic do you use in this rock-focused remedy, Anosi?
Just to be clear, the way that the sand is used, you don't consume it. It's basically like you heat up this sand and like you stick your head in it in like one type of sand, and then you stick it in like the pumice, and you kind of go back and forth. It's kind of like if you like dunk somebody's head in cold water and hot water, back and forth. Except it's made of rocks.
So does that help at all, Anosi? That clarification?
Yeah, she's just gonna kind of use her magic to, bolster effects, I suppose. Give them a little boost, and make it a little bit, cleansing. Maybe add like a cleansing effect with magic when he does that. To help get all the alcohol out. So you won't be dehydrated, because that's the real killer with hangovers. Pro tip, folks. It's a dehydration that'll get you.
Yeah, it's like a I'm going to say that the mechanism of action here is it's like when you take a dirt bath, but instead of just like knocking off the bacteria and the dead skin and stuff like that, it draws the toxins through your pores and alleviates your hangover in record time. Although that also means that you basically just experience the entire hangover in like 5 really horrific minutes.
And you're sweating vodka, and so you smell like a vodka rag.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, exactly. You smell like a moonshine rag at the end of it.
So I mean, after I think a few doses of this, you get thinking, all right, stop, jeez, stop. God, I have never been this clear.
Really perks you up, doesn't it?
Oh my God. What did you do to me? Why do I deserve this? I'm a humble, I can't even speak. I'm a humble chronicler, historian. Words, that's what I do.
Well, you're about to make history today, man, because we're going to go out there and we're going to stop a war before it begins.
Oh, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. The war is already happening. There's no stopping the war.
We need you to speak to your people.
No. There's a reason I'm in Sundered Hold, friends.
Man,
it has to do with a word that starts with I and ends in Zile.
Inexorable? I don't understand. Okay, listen. You are a bridge between these two worlds that are at war right now, and like we can prevent the deaths of hundreds, if not thousands, if you just, boulder up and come with us to go talk to the Hadoni. I mean, you speak the language, you understand the culture. and what we're offering them is something that they want. We just want to present it in a way that they'll understand.
Well, maybe I could get a pardon if I can broker peace. I mean, what I did wasn't all that bad.
What did you do? Just so I know what I'm walking into. No judgments from me. We all have a past.
Wilfred Connolly, self-proclaimed chronicler of Hydoni, wrote a bunch of claptrap and called it history. And so I did what any historian should, and I burned down his house and all of his manuscripts. Apparently,
so y'all have like a nerd fight going on right now, and that doesn't really affect me. What I'm saying is that y'all can slap each other all you want, but this is about people's lives, not books. That like, how long does a book last? Like 10,000 years? Who cares?
He was a patron. He was patronized by Alariz, who is the premier general of Hydoni, and therefore I am an enemy of the state. So you see, it's all connected. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. Because if any of those false words got out, people may believe them. And there is nothing worse. No poison worse than disinformation.
I see. So are you going to help us, or like what's going on? Like,
I thought I made that abundantly clear.
That you would help us.
It cannot be any more clear about this.
We just saved you from 72 hours in hell with the way that you drink, the way you lose control of yourself. And now, we just need you to do us a solid.
There's no other way to phrase this. I have explained it repeatedly. He grabs his quill and his book.
I turned to Nosy. Is he going to help us? I don't really understand what's going on.
And Nosy just nods and she goes, there is a lot more at stake than just ourselves. You realize this. Of course, it's what Grumble was trying to explain.
There is an old cliche that many lesser people with words have used in the past. It's a little vulgar. And it involves a horse that has passed away. Spirit has left its body. And an individual has taken a blunt object and has repeatedly hit the horse, even though the horse is long gone. I feel like we are in this territory.
I disagree. Let me put it this way. We are going to be on the cusp of history. We are going to help bring back a god. And who do you think would be able to chronicle such a feat if they are the front of such an event?
I have totally expressed repeatedly how I feel about this, and I do not know at this point what is holding us up.
So that's a yes.
I have no other way to say it.
Yeah, so say yes.
There is definitely a conclusion that we have reached together, and you are not getting it.
I'm not. Just say yes, and I'll get it.
Yes to what?
Are you going to help us? What the hell, man?
Of course I'm helping you. What do you think is going on right now?
Okay, good.
All right, there we go. Okay. All right.
Julius.
You are all very dense. I mean, figuratively as well as literally in some cases.
You frustrate me, man. All right, let's saddle up and go, I guess.
All right, so you have your chronicler. Are you going to also try to talk to Esther? That means a shift in chapter here.
Well, I think Amir and Renoy were going to do that part. Is that what we were?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There was what's Esther's translator's name?
Did we even give him a name? They just called him the Vizier.
Translator.
That was not his name.
Well, Renoy, I think perhaps I definitely upset Esther when we last spoke. but I believe I caught a glimpse of their translator, and they seemed pleased with the work we had done, especially with you healing all of their sick. I think maybe if we tried to go through him, we would have a better chance.
Yeah, that seems good. I think that's the best approach. Yeah. All right, so let's go talk to the vizier.
Okay.
All right.
So the feast is still going strong. So the vizier's present and on the dais looking out, although Esther isn't there, obviously. He has not been imbibing. He's working, watching the crowds. He's also talking with others who are probably advisors of some sort, and they are breaking up the feast to get everybody ready for what's coming. And, right now the stragglers that are still in there are probably too far gone in their festivities to really be of any use. So they're sort of just leaving them alone. But there's still a lot of chaos happening in the feast hall right now. And we're going to be in a culture chapter.
Well, I got a high vantage point, so I'm gonna spot the vizier and just make a beeline for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's obvious you're coming. It's obvious to him that you're coming, and so he kind of shoos some people away. That yes, as you know, we are preparing for what is likely going to be a siege. So please make it brief. It's Amir, isn't it?
Yes, that is my name. And Renoy, we were wondering, are there protocols among your people, you and the Hydoni? Is there a way to, I believe Grumble called it a parlay. Is there a way for you to signal that you would like to speak before a battle takes place?
Diplomacy has left us when the city was crushed by a Hydoni army.
Okay, but Renoy, help.
So, I mean, we obviously greatly want to help, protect your city, your last bastion of defense. And we are definitely on your side. We don't want them to attack you. There's a lot of things that we can do to help. I would hate to see anybody go to war, but naturally I could heal them. But for the greater good of the region, we're kind of thinking maybe you can help us come up with a plan to kind of talk to the Hydoni and maybe form a temporary alliance to fight the blight here, since it not only affects them, but it affects you as well. And, there is a Hydoni outcast here, Julian,
All right, this is a two-stage conflict. I don't know if I spelled it right, but it's intransigence.
Looks right to me.
INTRA.
Perfect.
So, yeah, you have to change his mind, because for him, the war's already, not just started, but in the throes. And now he has to defend his city from what looks like Hydoni's attempt to do a final blow. And you're strangers, and you don't know what they've been through. So this is an argument that's appealing to him. So we're gonna see how it works. Now, here my question is why? And in this game we ask why, not what. So obviously you're trying to change his mind about this, but are you doing it to protect the people, or are you doing it because this is the right thing to do?
I'm doing this because I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, same. Renoy thinks that it will both be the right thing to do because it is protecting the people. So
yeah, so that's why the reason I'm asking it, because the difference between a virtue roll and a prestige roll. So we're gonna roll virtue on this, and I think Renoy, you'll do the rolling, but you can get Amir's prestige die because he was helping.
My virtue die.
Sorry, virtue. Right.
That's a D8.
Whoa, very virtuous.
Yes. Okay.
Amir does not lie. Not even to a kraken.
My my virtue die is only a D6, so that's
pretty good though.
Yeah. All right.
And if there are any disciplines that you want to spend on this, you can. And if there are any talents that apply, you can add those.
Nope, none at this time.
None at this time. All
None
right.
at this time. Please. Son of a fudge. 4.
You got a 4, including the D20?
Including the D20.
All right. I drew a little arrow next to that box, which is my note of saying this is escalating.
Oh, God.
You get an experience. I'm sorry. You get to wax your virtue 1. And he waits a long time to respond. And you don't really know what he's thinking because he's very cold-faced. And after a while, he says, "My entire family was bloodily murdered in front of my eyes as I was standing outside the walls of this city. I watched my children crushed under the feet of boots. I saw my wife, bloody body thrown into the river. And you come to me and say there is peace? There is no peace. Either we die or they do. I am glad they brought their armies because finally we will settle this. Good evening to you. And take a harm to your virtue. Because those words stung. That's on both of you.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to use my feat, which I can spend a favor to immediately negate harm to my virtue.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's what it's for.
Um,
He's just upset. That's not going to bother me.
Yeah. Okay. Before he tries to leave.
No.
Oh, he just.
Yeah, he just dropped the mic and is now just waiting for your response.
I'm gonna get lower. I'm gonna crouch down. I understand loss. I understand the pain and the need for vengeance. But what I offer is that these people, and I gesture to the people in the hall, are in no shape to win the war that you are so eager to see completed. And that your loss should not be theirs. Think of them now. We cannot go back and change the past, but we can prevent more suffering. And that is really all we can ever do in this life, is to prevent more suffering. Think of if you had an opportunity a week before those atrocities were committed against your family, would you take it? Would you grant it to them?
Normally, I would not let you roll virtue again because that didn't work on him before, but because of your feat, and because you didn't take any harm, I'm going to let you double down on virtue.
Okay. Is this make a stand?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So D8 virtue. And am I attempting to balance nature and society?
I don't know where the nature is in this.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I mean, ultimately, it's about getting rid of the corruption, so I suppose you could argue it.
I didn't really mention that in the argument to this person, though, so I don't think it would come up. All right, I think that's it. I'm gonna. Oh, I already spent a favor to negate the harm. Okay, so I'm rolling a d20 and a d8.
All right, let's see it. Let's see that swing.
Shit. That's an 8.
Better than mine. Better than mine.
That's not a 10.
Nope. So I guess that waxes.
Yeah, that waxes, and you are you're in a bad situation at this point. So
yeah,
the I think, all he does is he spits in your face. And then he walks past you to go do his job.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
you've lost him, and you've also taken a harm to virtue.
Yeah.
Some things are beyond virtue.
Bernoy's mad.
Well, now I am angry.
Yeah.
So he flicks it on the ground. Fine. We will take this to Esther.
It's an active threat. I mean, you can go after it again. You just have to do it in a different way.
I guess we have to go find Esther.
Mm-hmm. Same threat, different person.
Yeah.
So okay. Last time you saw her, she had left the dais and gotten deeper into the hold. So you could probably just follow that. And when you do, there are guards. But you've been considered friendlies and heroes for having saved so many people. So the guards let you through. And Esther is sitting in an open courtyard. It's sort of in the middle of the stronghold. It's really lovely. There's trees about and grass, and there's a small pond and a little waterfall going into the pond. And she's just sort of out there sitting and reflecting. And she sees that you come, but doesn't get up. She speaks into your mind because that's the only way she can talk to you. So you've heard about the army. Please let me in and we can talk through our minds.
You are welcome.
My mind is open, Esther.
And you feel her presence come in. It sort of fills up your consciousness, and it's a little jarring at first, but you're connected. Probably good that she asks first. Do not fear. I will not look within. You are here to convince me to send diplomacy forward to our foes.
Yes. I am afraid that I made an impassioned plea to your vizier, and I did not succeed.
I mean, he kind of literally spit in your face. Esther, your vizier spit in his face.
That is my fault. I pressed upon a raw... I pressed upon something I should not have.
We have lost much during this conflict, and I am all that is left of leadership. Everybody's safety is now my responsibility. So what guarantees can you give me that putting ourselves out in front of the army, in front of these generals that have done so much horror and harm to us, will give us anything but mockery?
Unfortunately, we need time.
The truth comes out. You're going to the Shard.
We think as much anguish and sadness and devastation that you and your people have suffered over a great length of time. It's always, it might be useful to talk with a Hydoni and come together to defeat a common enemy, which is the Blight. I think I speak for both myself and Amir and Nossi and Grumble in that we do not want to see any more of your people, of your home, of your culture harmed. And I think the only way to do that is through peace rather than bloodshed.
All right, I think this is a rally.
Yeah.
So roll your prestige.
My prestige. Oh, and that is my lowest one. Why am I front and center with this? Okay. I would like to use my favor with this too.
Okay. So yeah, add a D6 to the pool.
Glorious. All right. So I got a D20, a D4, and a D6. Please don't mess up. Ugh. 7.
The story does not want this to work.
No, it doesn't.
We have accepted you as heroes for what you have done for us, but now I must ask you to leave. This is not your affair. You're no longer allowed in Sundered Hold until we have finished what was started.
You may cast us out, but we will still do what we think is right to save your people. And when we return, and we have done so, I will expect an apology. And I turn around and fucking walk away. Oh, I'm sorry, it's PG-13 stream. I turn around and walk away.
That was your one.
Amir was mad.
Renai watches him go and looks back at the lady, and in her mind is just like, exactly what he said. You know, I personally have already saved some of your people. And when we save more of them together, you're going to regret your choice of words. She turns around and she flies away to follow him.
And like, she's out of your minds.
Yeah.
With the cold slam of the door. And Intransigence is still here. This will set that aside for now.
Well, Grumble.
Swinginess of the
looks
D20.
like-
Dice don't like me today. I think I'm trading the black D20 for a gray one. Let's see if that works better.
My big D20 is screwing me today.
I know. Oh my god. All right.
I'm trying as hard as I can to look like that dog from the meme.
So you rejoined. You have Julius Lorado, and you have been exiled from.
As Renoy and Anosi, or
Brendan.
as Renoy and Amir like approach us, we're like standing with Julius, and we're just like, "So how'd it go? Everything good?"
They will not accept our help. We are no longer welcome. And he just like heavy ass footsteps.
We've been kicked out.
Well, Julius, it sounds like you've been exiled from 2 places, so that's got to be history.
You
You got to be over the moon. You got to be over the moon with how unprecedented this is, that you have been kicked out of both the Haidoni and the Derwish civilizations. So, you know, I mean,
Grumble. That is not nice to say to Amir. Look at his face.
I'm trying to look at the mossy side of the stone over here, and you're making it like it's difficult for him. I know it's going to be difficult for him. I'm just saying that there's a positive to this. That it's
I mean, it's already difficult for him. Look at him. He's so tall. I mean,
There's another expression that
Hey, what did you say?
Anybody over 5 feet looks tall to me.
there's another expression that goes back to horses, in which one bets on a horse, but is not the winning horse. That rings true.
Okay, so we have to go.
Julius might still be drunk. I'm not 100% on this. All right, look, this doesn't change. If you think about it, this doesn't change as much as it may first appear, right? We still have to go to the Haidoni, try to get them to slow their roll, and then if they give us enough time, we can go, you know, talk to the God Shard and cure the blight, and then resurrect a god. That's just 3 things. That's not, you know, if you look at it that way, it's not that big of a deal. I've done 3 things lots of times.
I'm glad you're optimistic, Grumble.
Grumble, you never fail to put me in better spirits.
Oh man, this is why we're best friends, Amir.
That is actually true.
I look over at Muscles and I'm like, what you think about that? All right, y'all, let's go.
Hang on, wait. I gotta know. Muscles goes and like rubs up against you.
Oh, yeah.
As he is an extension of me, it is
Aw.
okay.
Yeah, get those scritches, boy.
Like a bear on a rock.
Yeah. I'm like just scratching my backside against his. Like we do this a lot, actually. It feels pretty good.
I hate to break up this back scratch and party because this is just so incredibly adorable. But I think if we don't leave soon, we will be physically thrown out. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm just a teensy little bit angry and nobody has seen my bad side yet. And I really don't want to let it out.
It would
So-
be kind of funny to see them try to kick a mirror out.
That
Physically.
would be, yeah.
I have no need to provoke them, but yes, let them come.
Okay. Renoy's
line there,
right.
boys.
Renoy's right. Amusing tableaus aside, we should probably try and get to the Hydoni fast. Except we'll be on our own because we won't have them backing us up to try to wager for some more time.
Just got to convince them ourselves then. I think that's the only way.
Well, maybe Grumble and I should try. Y'all don't seem to be having a good track record. No offense or anything. I mean, I think she just had a bad attitude, but
I gotta say, I think the clock's ticking at this point, and we should just
all right.
head on out. Talk to the
I don't think
Hydoni.
Amir stopped walking. He's like ahead of y'all.
We're moving then. We're walking and talking.
I know. So
We're
give me
always
the walk
talking and
talk. Come on, let's
flying.
go.
Come on, Julius, let's go. Time to go.
Give me
All right. Well,
some
we're going
roll.
into a quest. So that means then that you get 2 humor dice when you roll, as everything's at an advantage. So, because this is something you've prepared for, apparently, I guess. Let me say that.
So I think the first step is we have to make our way to the Hydoni commander, captain, whatever that position would be for a force of this size. And I imagine that's not going to be at the tip of the spear, right? That's going to be a little bit ways back, but probably within walking distance or whatever. So
Yeah, it's approaching, and they are marching through the night. So when you go, it's sort of a flatlands along this way. So you're kind of going through tall grass. And
well, it's like a parade. You can fast forward it by just walking in the opposite direction of it, right?
I think I follow. So there are 4 columns of thousands of soldiers, foot soldiers, and they have horses and they have infantry, and they're on the march. So it's really clear who the commanders are. They're all in the back, and behind them is the wagon trail of supplies and food and all of that stuff. And it looks like they've been going for a while. And you are just a handful of people, so nobody really gives you any never mind unless you make yourself like antagonistic or something. But they're on a mission. They have to march to the walls tonight. So this is a fast-paced, one of those grueling marches. But they look stone-faced, no pun intended, and they are well regimented. You also see there are multiple banners. So this is a confluence of maybe different groups of people of the Hydoni.
All right, Julius, I see a bunch of different flags. Where should we head? Which one of these is in charge?
I would say Alaraz, unfortunately, who's the one that exiled me.
So you know him, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, he probably has 2 of these columns. Oh yeah, I see it. That's his crest.
Well, I think we know which direction we need to go. Let's do it.
Right. This will be great.
Can I ask why they exiled you? I don't think I was part of that conversation.
Nerd fight. It was a nerd fight. Don't worry about it. It's not a big
Wilfred
deal.
Okay.
Connolly was spreading disinformation among the Empire, and I
Oh.
took care of it.
Okay.
It's a little light arson. It's not that big of a deal. We're going to just paper over it. I'm sure that they've mostly forgotten it probably by now.
Yes. They have likely forgotten it by now.
I mean,
sure.
they probably don't have a lot of historical perspective because they kicked out one of the chroniclers and the other one had his house burned down. So I don't think they're like taking down a lot of records is what I'm saying.
Right. The entire Hydoni Empire and their 2 chroniclers. That definitely makes sense. Who's in charge here?
We're an autonomous collective.
All right. Well, I have, as the expression says, in the morning you make your bed. I have done so. I shall sleep in it. And he walks with purpose through the columns, his chronicler robes sort of blowing in the breeze behind him as he's trying to confront what is most certainly his fate.
Definitely following.
This is a quest, so if you want a tableau of how awesome you look as you're going to do some major nation diplomacy, you can take a moment to do that.
The Hydoni are mostly human?
Many of them are.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are others.
Do they recognize us as the? I mean, I don't know how they would necessarily, but do they? We're kind of making ripples, but I don't know if it would get to the Hydoni.
No, because they're you haven't reached them yet, really, geographically. But yeah, you do look like what they would imagine Whitlanders to look like. You probably look a little rough around the edges. So they probably are in general dismissing you as either travelers or as outsiders. But you're not really regarded beyond that. I mean, you're not like, nobody's really paying much attention to you. There are other Giantkin too in there, so it's not like Amir stands out either.
I'm being aggressively polite. I pretty much say howdy to everyone we pass.
Pretty much everybody is stone-faced and ignores you, except for one guy who kind of looks down, and is like, "Hey, hi," and then he gets hit upside the head, and he's like, "Oh," and then he kind of you hear like, "Wallace, God damn it, just move."
I like your sword. All right, let's keep going.
All right, so yeah. What's the tableau though? As you are marching, as you're walking against the grain of these columns, moving forward.
I think the space between these columns, like they actually would it make sense that Emir is big enough that they have to sort of like bow around him a little bit?
Sure, I think in certain cases, yeah.
So he's like causing a wake almost as he like strides, not caring for the army because he's a little pissed, and he's just like lumbering forward. And I think until you said that there are other really big Giantkin.
Yeah, there are. I mean, there's no giants, but you do see other Giantkin among the masses. There's probably maybe more than you would expect. But if you recall, the giants came from the west, so they're probably going to be more and more the further along you go.
I don't think it's common for Emir. Like, I don't think Emir has ever met another tall giant. I mean, I'm sure there's like have been other Giantkin that are, strong or whatever. But so I think an attractive Giantkin passes by that's about his size. And that is what like causes him to like stop for a second. To like,
you regard each other and then keep going.
Yeah, there's like a moment.
Do you do the hey nod?
I don't think he knows to. But he definitely, it stops him. Like he's probably out ahead of the group a little bit, and so he like he stops for a second to like watch this person go by. So everyone can catch up.
Dreamweaver.
So what's for noise? What does it look like as she's going towards the general of this army?
well, Renoy is just kind of flying alongside Amir, like up above, and she's also a little pissed. So she's flapping her wings really hard, and all of her emotions are getting tied up in like the air current that she's generating. So she's sort of like creating like mini dust clouds, and they're just splooshing into the Hydoni's like faces, but they just keep going straight. So she's trying to keep it together. So, and she puts a feather or a winged tip on Amir's head, and it's just like, no, look back this way. Don't get distracted.
Sorry. Yes.
Later,
Yeah.
Amir. Later.
And let's see what she's doing. What's she doing on this advance?
She's probably, I mean, because she's not as fast as either Amir or Renoy, because she can't fly and she's not a giantkin, so she's probably behind, probably next to Grumble and watching them, and she's trying her best to be dignified is kind of her deal. She's, she's got her staff and she's, kind of focused on where they're heading and everything, and trying to just act, dignified and whatever. And when she sees Amir and Renoy like ahead of them and how they're acting, she kind of like, kind of looks, tries not to look down at Grumble, but she says like so he can hear it, and it's kind of like, oh, that must have gone really badly in there. They seem to be quite perturbed. But that's her. She's just kind of following behind Dignified and kind of keeping an eye on Amir and Renoy so they don't, like, do anything.
Grumble continuing to kind of like greet people as he goes by.
Yeah, he's just being friendly.
Yeah. I think Amir and Renoy are causing people to notice now. And the command comes from the back to stop. And so the columns, little by little, just kind of come to a stop. And after a few moments, a sortie is coming down through in between the columns. And there are 5 riders, and then one of them's obviously a general. He has the full-on red cape. And he has armor that has no practical purpose because he doesn't really need it. And so it's like blinging with gold, and he has the fin on top of his helmet. And he just kind of goes ahead of the sortie, and they're trying to catch up to him. But he's a very, very good rider. And Julia sort of just looks at the ground. The general approaches. He's a mortal, so he's kind of aged a bit, but tough as nails, this guy. And he stops beneath Amir and Renoy and doesn't say anything. He kind of stops his horse and looks past you at the other 2 and just waits for them to catch up.
Oh, Julius, that looks like that might be. Do you know that guy?
General Alvarez.
Hey, General Alvarez. Look who I got. Look who we got.
Mr. Lorado. I'm trying to find the words.
Grumble sort of like kind of just lightly checks him, kind of bump him forward.
General, we are here. He's merely here as a testament to what we are about to say. It's true, as he has been living amongst these people for quite some time now. We wish to speak to you about what we've discovered about what has been happening so that we might prevent any further blight from happening. And this battle does not need to happen.
Julius translates in high speak. And Alvarez says in Rishan. I assume that's the word that you were probably speaking in Rishan.
Mm.
He says in Rishan. Well, he was speaking in Rishan before. This is a strange time to seek peace among the Hydoni. You choose the moment we arrive at the walls. Why did you not choose the times before that when you had every opportunity to seek peace? We are bringing war.
I think Emir grumbles. We weren't here yet. Oh, Inosi, you're muted.
She was basically gonna say, she was like, General, we only just arrived and learned, as you can see, we are not from this area. And we know
this is not your affair. Step aside. We have war to make.
But it is, and I would like to try to convince him to at least listen, perhaps. I would like to use my soothing ability.
Okay.
Well, it says you have the ability to calm situations that are escalating. So only
this is escalating. This is escalating.
Oh, is it? Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can spend a favor to move a threat down one stage.
All right. Look what happens. This is now a 1-stage threat. A favor well spent. So your soothing words kind of his posture changes a bit, and he does one of these to signal to the others, and the column begins marching, but he stays. You have enough time, at least until we arrive at the walls. Speak your mind. Oh, you're muted again.
All right, I keep forgetting. I tried to do that so I didn't get back right now. Anyway, General, we would like to share with you what we have encountered while we are here and how we may help. We have encountered the blight that Renoy, my friend here, has helped to heal some of the people here. We believe that this blight is being caused by a god shard nearby, and we believe that we can do something about it. And if we do, then many of these problems and many of the blight and everything will go away. But we need that chance. The others who live in the city have tried already, but they have failed. But we feel that we have the skills and the ability to at least try. And we request that you give us at least some time before you bring war to allow us to attempt to calm this god shard.
All right, you're doing a navigate others. And anything you can throw into that pool that would help.
Yeah. Okay, so what's this going to be? Is this going to be a virtue, prestige?
That's prestige.
All right, good. That's my. I'll have to do a d6.
Can I help by like coaching Julius to like put it in terms that like back it up and put it in terms that he would understand the Hydoni to give a crap about.
Yeah, so he just starts. He hears you and starts talking in high speak, and it's not translation but clarifying because the language is rough.
Right.
All right. So
that means you'll get Grumble's prestige as well.
Okay. What's Grumble's prestige?
Unfortunately, it's only a D4, but you can have it.
Well, that's fine. Hey, who knows?
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps. So I'm using my prestige, Grumble's prestige. I'm also going to use my Mister, the Discipline of Runes. Draw sacred glyphs to create a magical effect that reveals wisdom or truth. Oh. And what I would like to do is basically kind of create like a mystical scene by drawing runes to show him exactly why we are here and what we have seen and what we believe that we can do to kind of add like a visual aid. You know, some people are visual learners. So
you're putting up a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah. You know, basically like this is why we're here and this is what we have seen and this is what could happen if this continues. And this is not what we want. You know, so it's basically she's drawing runes in the air as she's speaking and explaining all of this. Let's hope my roll.
All right, well, grab a discipline die.
All right.
Stacking the deck here.
I will take a 20.
Yay!
Yes,
So
we'll
for the
take
rest of
that.
you, this is what happens when you succeed. I don't think you've seen this before.
Oh,
I'll just draw a line through there.
You have cut me
that means
real
that
deep.
that means the threat's no longer a threat. Just so you know.
I
That
am
was
wounded, sir.
unnecessary.
You're about to make Renoy hiss out of anger, and she hasn't hissed in 50 years.
Okay, so an OC, you get a favor for that. And since the threat's off the table, you have narrative control. You can tell me how he reacts.
I'd say he as she's drawing these images, she has images of their journey and how they have come and what the Oathstar means to them and how this is part of their journey. And then showing them what they have seen and how they came to discover, scenes of them at the party, talking to people, scenes of Renoy healing people, scenes of them fighting the Kraken, and basically explaining that we've done all of this to come here and bring this light back to this people. All we're asking for is a chance and time to do so. And then she kind of, does another scene where it's, a battle and people are dying and screaming. And she says, this can wait. This could happen anytime. All we're asking for time. And if we can't accomplish this, to reconsider that any blood needs to be shed here. And he kind of is probably very silent and just very contemplative through the whole thing. And, kind of watching all these images, and perhaps becomes very serious when the images of the battle start to show up and stuff like that.
After this, he looks down to Julius and says some things in high speak, and then nods to you all once, and then continues going. And Julius says, "Wow." He says, "I think you have finally found your heroes, Julie. Worthy of your chronicle. They are going to stand down for a fortnight."
That's
All right.
amazing.
That gives us some time. We can do this.
And as she kind of breathes a sigh of relief, like,
So after a while, you see the general kind of do a half turn to get one more look at you all, and then he continues.
Inosi will raise her staff in acknowledgement.
So, you're off to the God Shard. I would like to come along and take notes.
Sure.
If you feel like you can survive the trip, I don't see why not.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, there were many monsters.
He's saying you're a nerd.
That is not what I am saying. You are all very small, but I have seen them prove themselves. I have just met you.
Okay, but Amir, that's a nerd, right? I mean, we're all, you know what you are, right, Julius?
I am a historian. I
Exactly,
bring the
that's what I'm
truth
saying.
to the people, and I must observe the truth in order to bring it, mustn't I? So you will have me, nerd or no. Besides, where am I supposed to go? The Whitlands?
The Whitlands are quite nice this time of year.
I mean, we're not biased or anything, but they are really nice. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, to the shard.
Never mind.
If somebody who keeps getting kicked out of countries, you got a lot of things negative to say about where we come from. Just throwing that out there.
I was talking about distance, you rock. I was talking about distance. Where am I supposed to go? I have nowhere to go but all of the way to the Whitlands.
I just do not understand anything that he's saying at any time. I really feel like we are just not connecting, and that the phrases and the sayings that he uses just don't stick in my brain. But either way, I'm glad that you're coming with us, Julius. This is going to be fun. You're going to have a lot of cool things to write down, and you can bring it back to show your nerd friends or whatever it is. And we're all it's all gonna be great. I hope you survive. Anyway, let's move.
Yes, don't worry. If you get into trouble, Muscles will protect you. Muscles, protect him. And Muscles is like really uncomfortably close to Julius the whole way as we're traveling.
You say that, I'm just picturing Muscles slamming into him like, boom, like I'm stuck to him now. Like, Julius like, boom.
Like when you try to walk a dog and they want to be in your feet.
Oh.
Okay. You are going then to make your way to the God Shard. Star Shard. There's a term for it, and I'm forgetting it. But anyway, that's basically what it is.
Are we going to camp before we make it into the cursed swamp?
I mean, I'm not tired, so if y'all just want to, I mean, I can keep going.
No, sure. Yes, of course. We will continue.
It is the middle of the night. So if you would like to rest.
That might be a wise idea, Amir and Grumble. Just at least to let us who do need rest to rest.
Yeah. Some people need some dice back. So resting is a good idea.
Yeah, some people, including myself, since I did some magic.
There's the army is also camping because they're going to stay here for 2 weeks. So they are beginning to make camp, and they're not so intent on their forced march. So if you wanted to rest, I mean, there's food, there's campfires, there's ale, there's soldiers being soldiers.
Sweet.
And the Hydonian music comes out, which is like your quintessential medieval music,
Someone plays a lyre.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely find a spot and try to rest up.
So if you rest and don't do anything too strenuous, you can get a harm back, and a discipline die back.
Okay.
Unless you have talents or magic or something that might help accelerate that.
I want to snoop around and see what actually is the difference between Hydoni and Garwish culturally, or is this a West Virginia type situation where not really?
No, this is they're far more organized. I mean, this is obviously a military culture.
Than West Virginia, you're saying?
It's and also they're very much about hierarchy and structure, and so you don't see like they're musicians, but they're war musicians. Like they're there to keep beats and stuff. So they have drums. You don't see any storytellers or poets or anything like that. And and the people are, their fun is to throw dice and make bets, and that's so they're just sort of like in the mud. They're not very clean. So there's a pretty big difference. They're the Darewish people were very clean. They were cultured. They were read. They had bards and scopplers that told their stories, and you don't see any of that here.
Mm-hmm.
They're very rough around the edges. But they're happy to take in strangers and, play gambling games with you.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take all their money.
Yeah, they're using
what? Yeah, tell me about their game. What's their standard game?
They have bone dice, and they're trying to roll 6s on them. And if you roll 1, you lose your money to the pot. So if you roll 6, you take the pot. So that's basically it. It's a simple dice game. And then, but they're getting all riled up about it. And they're using a silver currency that you've never seen. These silver coins that have an engraving of a dragon on it. and they're obviously Hydoni currency, but that's what they're using. They don't have anything like a value that you can tell, except for these hats that have like the big plume.
Now we're talking. I need that hat.
So you're gonna bet
what
for
do
the
I need
hat.
to do to get one of those hats?
All right. Well, I think we're gonna need to roll it.
I will bet you my hat. I'll put my hat up against yours. You want to play for hat slips?
Yeah, the soldier's drunk enough, definitely. So which hat are you bartering?
I mean, that's his only hat, right? I'm going to have to use my main hat. That's just fair.
Oh wow, that's a big deal.
I know.
All right.
Cheat.
I'm going to roll dice. I don't have physical dice, but I'll go to a dice roller and roll on behalf of the soldier. And so you roll a d6 and I'll roll a d6. We'll see what happens. I got a 4, nothing.
I got a 2.
I also got a 2. So this could go on for a while.
You just keep going until you get a 6 or a 1?
Yep. I rolled a 6. Nothing in the pool. All right, this is going to take forever. This is bad television. Why don't you roll?
I rolled a bunch of times and I have not gotten a 6.
Let's roll. This is a terrible game. So why don't we roll against the threat, the bet, and you are going to use your wiles.
Sure. Which is what?
Let's make it a prestige roll because this is really what it's all about.
Oh damn.
Oh yeah, you're only a D4.
Now that works for me. That's fine.
And if you want to, if you have any favor to spend, you can.
Ho! That's a 21.
Right.
19 on the D20.
You did it, and you resolved the bet. Therefore, he has to take your. You get his hat, and you keep yours.
I want to give him my hat anyway. I think that it was nice that he showed me how to play this game. His hat fits me beautifully. I love this plume, and I don't want to leave this guy without a hat. He's camping.
So you're not going to take his hat, or are you going to give him like another hat?
I'm going to give him another hat.
You have that one with the spike on it, or the horns.
Oh yeah, I'll give him that one.
He loves that hat. Like this is a win for him because he's drunk, and now he looks like a Seabeard.
We're gonna be friends now.
He's doing bad Seabeard accents. Seabeard, I am sea scared. Look at me.
Everybody thinks they're a voice actor when they're drunk. It's a rule. It's a fact.
All right. So the next day, you have a new hat. You're rested.
Can I get a minute with Renoy before we pass to the next
please.
day? Unless you need to move us to a new point.
No, we're good.
So I think Emir comes to find Renoy because he's trying to clear some harm, and he's a little pissed. And so he comes to find you. Renoy, can I speak to you for a moment?
Sure, of course. Have a seat wherever. And she just kind of points to a spot on the ground.
He gets down. He sits on the ground, crisscross applesauce. I want to apologize for my outburst with Esther earlier.
Yeah.
I don't do so well with being cast out. There was a reason that I chose to live my life as a wildkin outside of society. My own family cast me out after our mother died during my birth. They treated me poorly all growing up, and as soon as I was old enough, I would say not old enough, they told me to leave and to never come back. And I don't know, it was like that moment had just surfaced when I was told, when she drove us away for something I could not change. I don't know if I will ever be okay with that, but I am sorry for the outburst this morning. It was unbecoming.
Oh, Mayor, you have nothing to apologize for. If there is anybody who understands how harsh families can be sometimes, and the anger and the hatred, it's kind of me. Kind of goes along with being part demon, you know. But Renoy would like to, because she feels this is a very like touching moment where Amir is being like vulnerable and really true and like revealing bits and pieces about his family life. And Chris, I don't know if I need to roll for this, but Renoy would like to perform like a small blessing on Amir to take that emotional weight off of him that he's feeling right now. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no need to roll for that, as we're
Okay.
sort of in a downtime. I mean, I guess technically yes, but that magic can help. What were you doing, a move or something there, Amir?
No, I just
There's so we can say that the magic clears the harm, which is what magic can do that. So
Mhm.
it'll clear the harm.
yeah.
Also, just so you know, you can clear harm by doing bad things too.
Mm.
So if you wanted to, like, if you have a
Yeah.
virtue, you could lash out, emotionally hurt somebody, and that would clear the harm as well.
Gotcha.
But this is better, I guess.
Nettle.
Yeah, this is the relationship that we defined, that this Renoy is the one who I confide in when I need counsel. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Well,
Okay.
I appreciate your kind words, and I could never understand the mystic powers you wield, but I appreciate your blessing greatly.
Of course. That is what I'm here for.
Can I ask you one other question?
Of course, Amir.
Did you notice the very handsome giantkin?
I did. Does that
And-
make you happy to see the giantkin there?
Well, I have never seen another giantkin, so
Yeah. I think.
well, not like
yeah.
me at least. And I mean, I have caught glimpses of myself in the placid lake, but never anything like that.
Yeah.
You don't think that I should maybe go find them?
I think that sounds like a wonderful idea, Amir. I think it will do you wonders to talk to another giantkin, especially one as handsome as that one. So, and we have a lot of downtime too, so it can't hurt trying to get to know them.
I think I will go and try. Thank you, Renoy.
Good. You're welcome.
And he gets up and wanders off into the camp.
We can make this a prepare chapter, and that means get everything you need to do before you go marching into the swamp and the cursed, all the starved that are out there, etc. So, since it is a prepare chapter, do you find this giantkin, and what happens?
Sure. Yeah.
This is the night. But imagine a banjo on top.
They call it a bell knot.
I
With
think
that look in your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
yeah, I think so Amir always has his hair like up in a big old bun. And so I think like he gets a little drunk with this this handsome other giantkin and lets the hair down. And so he's got like orange hair with like a big white storm streak through it. And so it's like when it comes down, it's like that big long, it sort of like ripples and billows around his shoulders. And yeah, I think it fades out with them having a good time, and like a hand on a shoulder is about as intimate as Amir is comfortable getting.
Before the trumpets go off at the crack of dawn, was there any other preparation that was happening during the night to prepare for this journey?
I think Renoy definitely wants to make another like protection amulet, since that seemed to come in handy last time.
Yeah, that's it.
So so she's creating an amulet from her nature surroundings and everything, gathering any kind of like leaves and twigs and dirt and everything, and casting a spell on it to turn it into an amulet so no physical harm can come to anybody. And she's trying to make it as big enough to cover not only everybody in her crew, but anybody in the Hydoni army. So, yeah.
All right. So you have your protection amulet.
Mm-hmm.
Grumble has his hat.
Anosi wants to, if I can, we're preparing. She wants to have some kind of inkling, a clue, vision perhaps of some idea of what they might need to do when they get to the God Shard. So her rune ability can create a magical effect that reveals wisdom or truth. So she kind of wants some kind of wisdom, some kind of idea, small scene, and a vision of something that might help them when they get to the God Shard.
So I think in the meditation, then you get the you sort of just get the wisdom of how to handle this, because it really can't be articulated in words. But when you arrive at the God Shard, you know that the God Shard is really just the physical world's representation of a whole universe. So it isn't a physical crossing. So you really need to kind of tune yourself into a different signal to become part of the frequency of this other reality. So it isn't a physical thing. And you think that's where Esther went wrong, is that she probably tried to use magic to open up the portal, which caused destruction and corruption because it was in the wrong plane. But if you kind of dial yourself like a radio, I mean, this is why I'm saying it's wisdom. You would just kind of understand this innately, even if you can't have the words for it. But if you're to dial yourself like a radio and find the right frequency, then you can cross over.
She probably pictures herself and her friends kind of becoming a part of it in her meditation. Just, you see the God Shard in her mind, in her meditation, and them sort of, becoming one. Maybe their auras are around them and just becoming like changing to this like the same color and stuff. And so she kind of understands then that we have to like attune ourselves to it instead of trying to like force it and stuff like that. I think that would seem to, yeah, cool. Okay, cool. That's what she does.
Okay. Anything else? You good, Grumble?
Yeah, I think I'm prepped.
All right. You get the morning bugle just before dawn. That might affect some of you more than others. Everybody's rising. Doesn't matter how much they had to drink last night. They are rising. You see one soldier in all of the masses of plumed helmets with a Viking helmet on. The regiment commander walks by, looks at that guy, slowly shakes his head and keeps walking. What is this army coming to? This is my last tour. Fuck this. Oh. I think we broke the PG-13.
I guess that's your
one.
We
get one. PG-13, you get one.
You like the Danny Glover.
We've had two already.
I took it earlier, but it wasn't in character. I don't know if that matters.
Like the Danny Glover of Hydoni.
We get one.
Too old for this.
We get one diegetic F word and one non-diegetic F word. So
now they're wearing Seabeard hats. Okay. Why don't I just wear a toga? All right. Well, so I assume you're just going to go off into the Great Wild. Mm-hmm. The journey is long and arduous, and at some point you reach the bayou, or as it's called in Whitlands, the swamp.
Yes.
With the river in it.
The river swamp.
The river. And so now, except for Amir, things are getting really rough. I mean, you are slogging through mud and water, and especially the rocks among you are having more and more difficulty going through this terrain. Also, the stench of decay is starting to waft in the air the farther east that you go. Julius is with you and not complaining yet.
I like the yet added on to that. Yet. Not complaining yet.
Amir, you can say no if this is weird, but I'm sort of getting stuck here, and I feel like I'm going to start slowing down the entire group. So, do you think that you could maybe, perhaps, carry me like a baby?
Will, I was actually going to ask if you needed a hand, and I'll scoop you up.
I do need a hand, and I appreciate it.
There, that is much better. Yes.
This is delightful, Amir.
Well, you are very welcome, Grumble.
You can put him on your shoulder. It'd be awesome.
Can you hold on? I'll put you up there.
I yell down at Enosi. Enosi, I'm so high up right now.
That's
I can see
great.
everything. This is what it's like to be tall. It's incredible.
I love that for you.
Or I just kind of grumbles, rock-a-bye grumble on the
I'm
treetop.
going to write a song about this. It's called Head in the Clouds, and it's about me and Amir being best friends. Sorry, Muscles.
Oh, don't worry, Muscles. We are all best friends together.
So, Renoy, you can fly for a while, but at some point even you need to rest. And so Amir can sludge through Renoy and Anosi and Julius really struggling in this terrain that is not good.
I'm real good at getting us through terrain and stuff. So
yes.
I would love to try to figure out a way to make it easier on my little friends.
Yeah, maybe there's a better way.
Yeah. Maybe knowing where to step, maybe going around some way, something like that. So know and understand how to get through an environment. So I guess this is what kind of role is this?
This is I almost said navigate because a word jumped out at me, but it's not.
Navigate swamp.
This is a scout, so this is courage.
Okay.
Navigating the swamp. Look, swamp, you just need to let us by. Come on.
I'm going to use my D6 discipline die from Discipline of Journeys. And I don't know that this has anything to do with the balance of society and...
No, this is just nature at its finest.
Yeah, this is... We shouldn't fix this. This is how it's supposed to be.
Right. Exactly.
All right, here we go. Okay. That's a 9.
All right.
So I'll wax that.
All right. Well, it is a bayou. You get to the point where it's just a massive body of water, and essentially you are in a situation where, Amir, you have to either carry everybody or you need to find or build a boat, because this is not going to work. And also, it's not just that. You're starting to get into the corruption. The water is oily and tarred, and there are creatures moving out that you can see the ripples of the water as they're kind of making their way. Your scent is present, and you don't think you have a whole lot of time before the starve emerge.
Julius, you're going to have plenty of material after today. I promise you.
I have to apologize, everyone. I do not think that there is an easier way, and I can carry all of you for a short while, but not while trudging through a swamp like this. Also, I don't know if you saw the ripples on the edge.
Renoy, she's also, I think one of her talents is navigation. She's just a naturally good navigator, so maybe right now she could try to find another way around.
Yeah, that's okay, because you would be... Well, are you using your magic to do that?
No, this is just her natural ability. one
Doesn't
of the
really
things
work
that-
in this case simply
Okay.
because you've already tried to navigate your way around, and it is no good. So if you
Okay.
have to find another approach, another way to do this.
Okay. I will
We could
save that.
try to build a boat or a raft. There were trees a while back. We could go and lash them together into a makeshift raft. At least then I could pull the raft and you could all be on it and it wouldn't weigh me down as much.
Is there any kind of like magic that we could do on
Sure.
the swamp? Can
Sure.
like a no-see freeze it so we could walk on it?
I could try.
There's always a magical solution if you can
Yes.
figure out what would work.
That would be very cool.
I can try. Let me go ahead and try. Okay, so I'll first I need the D20. What would this be here for using?
This
Would it
is-
just be discipline? It would be a discipline, but it would also
Yeah.
be what?
This is a courage. We'll put it under strike or under scout. I mean,
Okay. And then I will use, we need to do this. So I'm going to use the D8 here for tomes. So it's use a tome to perform a ritual from a magical effect that harms or protects from harm. So basically we are, she's trying to protect them from the harm that comes from like trudging through this swamp.
exhaustion and death.
Yes, exhaustion and death.
Mhm.
So, and can I get a talent die when my knowledge of the magical arts is tested because she's never done this before?
Yeah, this would be a test, definitely.
Okay, so she's like, I will try, but okay, and that gives me a D6, does it?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, then I've got my die here, so let's see how we do. Oh, I'll take a 19. No,
Okay.
wait, I'm sorry. That's a 20 because I didn't see the 4. I saw the 3. So 16 and 4 are my highest. So 20.
Nice. You get another favor. I'm going to knock that out. And you have narrative control. Tell me what happens.
So Nosy says, well, yeah, I'll try, but I've never done anything this before. Everybody step out of the water if you possibly can. Get up off of it. Try to find a dry spot because she's going to try to do something. So she steps out into the water and she kind of holds her staff out horizontal like this. And she starts looking at the staff and she starts speaking words. And the words start glowing on different spots on the staff. And then they all sort of kind of start to come together. And then she twirls the staff up and slams it down just like Gandalf. And then what happens is this ice starts to it actually raises her up above it. So what you see is her kind of rise up as the thing is glowing. And then ice just spreads like as far as you can see out over the swamp.
So you froze the entire swamp.
We knew you could do it, Inosi. That was awesome.
She like opens her eyes. She's like, did it work?
Very cool indeed.
Yes.
I think
wow.
The whole swamp is frozen. But then what happens, I'm going to dial it back because there's this corruption that's coming in.
Oh.
And so the force is still there, but then it's kind of recoiling and it just ends up localized, but it's following you. So it's almost like when you set your foot down, some ice is there with you. And and it's just because the corruption is too strong. It's just like pushing your power back. But it doesn't mean it negates the power. It's just like kind of like not here. And
Right.
it kind of pushes it back just onto yourselves. And that keeps it local, but it still works as intended. And that's it only gets worse because you feel like as you continue to go forward into the day, And as the afternoon wears on, it's like you're going up against a gale force wind. It's because of this. Anosi's power is just resisting the corruption as you go, but it's hard work, and you're kind of forcing your way through. And then by the time the sun is setting, you can see just disturbances around you all over. It's like not quite white water rapids, but there's just ripples everywhere. And you can't see what is causing them, but you know it's probably the starve underneath. But they're kept at bay by this sort of bubble of power. The challenge is, though, at some point you're going to need to rest, and then that power will subside, and they will, like a gate opening, just flood into where you are. It's getting dark. What do you do?
I'm getting pretty sick of y'all needing to sleep all the damn time.
Yeah, I know she's gonna say as much. She's like, eventually I'm gonna have to rest, and then they're gonna take that opportunity. She'll definitely warn everybody.
Well, when that time comes, I have my amulet to protect us, and hopefully it works just as well as the last time.
I'm gonna ask the chronicler Julius if he know. I mean, does he know of any ways to protect ourselves from the starve so that Inosi can sleep without maintaining a spell?
Well, there were some in Underbridge when they had their invasion about 20 years ago, where they would slaughter their kin and use their entrails as a ward against the starve. That worked really well. I don't think that tool will help us here.
What did they use?
The guts, son, of their kin. They took daggers, and do I need to go into more detail?
I cannot follow what Julius is saying.
Blood sacrifice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, blood sacrifice. I get that.
But that was just a tale. I was not there.
Does anybody have any like blood lying around? No? No blood? No blood? Okay. Then we gotta do something different. I mean, there is no high ground, unfortunately, because we're in the middle of a bayou. So maybe the best we could do is create some sort of makeshift series of hammocks between some treetops, and then Renoy's amulet might give us some sort of protection. I would take a little catnap.
I have my sail, and I could tie it between a few trees.
That sounds like a plan to me.
Yep. Depending on how high everybody wants to go. I mean, I can obviously fly up pretty tall and pretty high and hang up the hammocks. So
I would like to not roll over and die in my sleep, though, if you know that's okay.
I'll tuck you in. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
So you're perching your camp up in the trees using hammocks. Smart idea. As Inosi's power is fading, you can see the claws of the starve crawling around beneath you in the dark. Some of them are climbing up the trees. Some of them are succeeding, and you can hear just their ravenous hunger. They are growling and crawling and climbing and then climbing on top of each other in a sort of like a swarm underneath you in the darkness. Let's see if Renoy's amulet works.
Okay.
Good Lord.
Would this be a courage roll? Or
Good question. You're defending,
yeah,
so this is a virtue.
defending virtue. Okay. So that's a D6 and da da da.
And then your discipline that you worked so hard on.
I know. I always forget what dice is my discipline.
It's your stat. So, your discipline. You choose the die. You can choose an 8, 6, or 4, but you're spending them.
Aha. I'm gonna roll an 8. So I got my D20, my D6, and my D8. Oh, 16. I did it!
Yay! So the amulet is working, and the way it's working is, if they get too close, it gets too hot, and so they sort of, and some of them just sort of drop and fall, and so they are smart enough as a mass to kind of move around where you are located, and now they're climbing from other trees. And some of the stronger ones are now leaping from tree to tree. And since they're coming in at a different angle, the amulet can only do what it can do. So now you are being assailed from up top, and they're dropping down into the hammocks.
I want to go full Ben Grimm. It's clobbering time, and try to
fight them off.
Yeah, I'm going to try to fight them off with my big rock hands. These hands.
Yeah, all right. Do a strike. Let's see how that goes. That's courage.
Courage is D6. I am also going to... I'll use my... what's it called? Not fate. What's a destiny point? What's it called?
Favor.
Favor.
Yeah.
Favor. Yes. Favor. It's my favor. And that doubles it, right? So that is going to be... Oh, I'm feeling good about this. Wow. That is a 25.
Nice. Yeah. So you get your favor back that you just spent. And
Hell yeah.
Tell me what happens. How do you knock this? This is a new tactic they're using. How does it go for them?
As they try to jump into this thing, I mean, my hands are huge compared to my body and have a very, very low center of gravity. So moving around this hammock is not really a problem for me. And as they come in, I'm just clocking them in the jaw, spinning around. I can roll around this thing. It's actually kind of the perfect situation for me to be fighting hand to hand, because I can use this thing like a trampoline. I can roll around it. I can spin around, and coming at me from the top, I'm used to that. Everybody attacks me from the top. So I'm busting these things apart with my bare hands.
You're flying off, and it's just sort of like you get the remaining hundreds, I don't know, thousands, the masses beneath are just sort of subsiding like a wave or a tide coming out. And after a while, it's very, very quiet.
I imagine after a while, the amulet's power starts to kind of resonate and help push them down.
Yeah. It sort of corrects itself, and you can kind of just see them wafting back down. But then it gets too quiet. I mean, you can't even hear insects at this point. And you hear sloshing down below, and there is this groan. And then you hear a voice say in a language you don't understand, some sort of guttural words. And a fountain of water brings up this decaying robed figure. And he is gesturing broadly.
Well, I'm going fishing.
Oh. You going to use your fishing pole?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to just try to rip him out of his fountain of water. And try to hurl him off into the...
All right. Go for it.
So I'm going hunting. So I'm going to use my D8. And I'm fighting with my friends.
Yes.
So I get a D6 for that. And then this is courage, right?
Right.
All right. Here we go. Let's see if I can fish this feller up. Yeah. Okay, that's a 22. Yeah.
All right.
So
you get a favor, and that is the whole threat. So you tell me what happens.
So Emir can't quite stand up in this thing, but he's sort of like he's on his knees, but like his torso is up, and he's whipping that mast around like he's fly fishing, and he sort of like throws it around in a big old loop and springs it back, and it flies underneath, hooks onto this guy, and then he just whips it back, and the guy just woo.
Goofy yell, please, yo!
If that's too silly, let me know if that's too silly. But yeah, he doesn't want to keep it. He just this guy just out of sight.
And the loss of their undead mage, kind of the tide breaks, and you can just see the ripples as they're fleeing the area. And for a moment, you think you can get a good night's sleep up there in the trees of the bayous of the Riverlands. So, why don't we say we'll stop there? Actually, before we stop, in the morning, you finally see the God Shard. It's silhouetted against the morning light, and it is not but a half day's journey away from you. So your destination is nigh. What will you find when you get there? Join us next week to find out.
Dun, dun, dun.